Hi, this is Jackie from Gagnon Crafts and Life. I'm also Gagnon Crafts and Life on Instagram. And this is a video mostly about cross stitch. All about cross stitch today. And plans and a review of everything I was able to kind of stitch and get through in February. I am kind of in a different-ish location. So I do have some things listed out a little bit that I want to talk about, like some life updates, go through all the stitching I was able to do in February, plans for March, fun stuff like that. Okay, so first we got some new couches in our living room. I think I mentioned them maybe a little bit in the last couple of videos. And while they were being delivered, we didn't have anything in here. So I wasn't able to stitch for a few days, except for when I was at work, because I have that set up in another room. But I don't like being there at night or when the kids are up after I'm out of work. So not a lot of stitching. But I did start to diamond paint. And my sister has a Zoom call with her friends that she likes to do on Friday nights. And I've been joining her on Friday nights for some diamond painting for a few weeks now. So that's been really fun. I might do a whole video with my diamond painting things. There's 4. I think I finished 3 small pieces. And then I ordered a bunch of larger ones that are coming in. So that might be a video by itself, separate. I also got a new light. It's going to get really bright and really weird for a second. It is in, is this one the Yacht light? Yeah, so bright. Because this is my stitchy spot. I have to figure out how to get it turned back down. It's pressured. There we go. Still on. It's a little bit better. Because I am filming at like 9 o'clock at night on February 28th. So this is, other than what I stitch after I'm done with this is of all my February stitching. But that was a new purchase that I got. I got myself better lighting up here because I do have this lamp back here. Sometimes I use both of them. I also got myself well, my camera's standing on it right now, but what do they call them? As soon as I hit record, all the names of everything I want to say leave my head. Phone holder. It's one of the fold holders that you can put against the table, or I can latch onto my light stand, and it swivels so you can adjust where it goes. I thought that the one I bought was going to be easier to maneuver. It is not. It does have some type of metal in it, and it makes it really hard to adjust if I want it down a little bit or up a little bit. So I might look into getting a different one, because this one is it's very stable, which is great, but I need it to be able to adjust a little more so that when I am sitting and I have it over here and I have this over here, when I want to get up and come back, I can move it out of the way instead of trying to maneuver around it to get up off the chair. Yeah. So new couches this month. Kids are back in school. They haven't had any off days other than I think maybe like one snow day. But most of their other snow days, it just become virtual days. So they've been doing some school at home because we have had a lot of snow in February. A lot of snow. Some parts of Connecticut, which is where I'm from, a lot of the rain that came afterwards got rid of a lot of the snow. I'm up in like a hills area, so we still have snow in our backyard, like probably over a foot. And even when I'm at work and like we have Zoom calls and we had a few team meetings, and we all talk about weather and like what everyone's up to, and a lot of them are still surprised to know that I have still like probably a foot of snow covering my backyard. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the hills, so there are days, even if we were in the office, that I would this is a newer job, so they never had this with where I live. But my previous job, I would go ahead and log on online and be like, oh, I'm doing a virtual day. Like, I'm working from home today. And they're like, oh, why? And I'm like, because of the snow. And they're like, what snow? But that's how much weather can differ in Connecticut by town to town, that they didn't have any snow. And even inside the same town, inside my town, if you're not in the hills area, you're in the lower parts, no snow. Up here, we'd have a few inches, which is still enough that you're not driving or you're not trying to go and walk on ice. Also, the street I live on is, even though this is a privately owned home, a lot of the houses on this street, other than like 2 or 3 other houses, are run by a housing center. And so the actual street I live on gets plowed by the housing center, not by the town. So my street is also like one of the last ones to be plowed, even though we're a privately owned home, and not part of the housing. Now they do sometimes plow not our driveways, but they have plowed our sidewalk before. And that's mainly because, like, who wants to be plowing a sidewalk, like, as your job? And then you know that these 2 houses aren't part of you, because it's me and on this part of the street, it's only me and the house next to us. And then move your snow plow off onto the main road just so you don't plow 2 houses' sidewalks. They usually just go ahead and plow our sidewalks. And we do if we get to it first. But that is one of the kind of perks. Another downside would also be whenever there's a holiday, usually the people who do trash pickup, or when the trash people are on vacation, or when there's a holiday and it might be a different trash driver, they forget to come onto our street and pick up the 2 or 3 houses that are part of the town's trash pickup and not the housing units, because they are on different days. So, like, my other neighbors will put out their trash on one day, but it's not my day for trash because we're not part of the housing unit, we're part of the town. If that made sense. That was a little rambly. But let's do some stitching updates. So in February, today I have my tablet loaded with my spreadsheets, but I worked on seven projects, and I have finished 5, or at least the parts of them, 5 of them. So let's see where I want to go first. I did show this in the kind of the haul video. I'm using one of the project bags. I put both of my Prairie Schooler one's a Prairie Year, one's a Prairie Year rounds inside this bag. I'm bad at remembering where I get bags and things from, but the haul video, haul, will let you have the links for where I was purchasing things. Oh, and then an update on that. 123 Stitch did mail out my Love Lives Here pattern. I don't have it with me right now. I will try to remember to show it on a different video. I do love the pattern. It did finally come in. February was already pretty much over, and so I didn't start it. Okay. And there isn't really any before pictures of this because I'm pretty sure I was really close to the end of February on my last update. So I think the only thing I had left to do was maybe like stitch around the edges, maybe finish some of the hearts down here. I can't remember. This is done, and in my last video I also mentioned how there are like 3 or 4 different mistakes in different areas. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but some of the stitches in this bottom corner there was off by half a stitch, and so it's not quite at the same line as the ones over here. I just cut them off and made them kind of work. And that this bottom heart is missing an entire red row, so that the bottoms here of the heart should be down 1 more. so that it should be closer to this green border like the rest of them are. Personalization, fudging, but I really like how this one came out. I did not, so for January and February, I kind of actually started these ones the month before, which worked out really nicely. I did not start March's yet, so I also never got to February and a prayer year rounds. I like to stitch the month they're in, or right before it, so I'm not going to be stitching February and a month prayer year rounds. But since this is out, I do have plans to hopefully stitch March in a prairie year. So it'll be these shamrocks. And then I'll make my tag on the bottom. Sorry, also that tag is personalized. It's not from the Prairie Schooler. I charted it with Lord Lebedian's font, one of his fonts, free fonts, and I add it to the bottom. But that one. And if I do get to the prairie year rounds, it'll be this shamrock. A little bit of plans, and do I think I'm actually going to get to them in March? I think I'll get to one of them. Which one? I'm hoping for the prairie year. Although that one does take me a little bit longer because I do add the month at the end and I still have to chart it. But I'm hoping for a prairie year because maybe even if I don't get a prairie year rounds all the way done this year, I'm hoping to finish all of a prairie year this year. I have a lot of other month patterns, hands-on design, heart in hand celebrations. There's a few of them that I have. I know that there's more out there. There's some Lizzie Kate's. There's a lot. But I do have a few other ones that I wanted to start, but I haven't started yet because I want to get through one series at a time. And I do plan on having kind of a calendar wall where a lot of things can get changed out every month. But I need to finish one first. Okay. Snow house. And since I'm not doing progress updates from my last video, but more or less from the end of January, so this is like February in review, there is no before of this because this is another sale from Happy Little Stitch Shop. Happy Little Stitch Shop is having another sale that I'm participating in with the Snow Village by Country Cottage Needleworks. Got all those words right. So they sent me this, and it actually arrived in the middle of a snowstorm. I was expecting the mail to be delayed, but it came in the middle of a snowstorm, and I started working on it right then. On, I could tell you the date, but I go back far enough. Oh, I hit a bunch of columns. Okay. Within the first 4 days of February. It might have even been February 1st. I don't remember. It was in the middle of a snowstorm. It came and I started it right away. I do have all the fabric kind of being held back here. And I counted down. All this blue is a lot of my counting. I was counting down so many stitches, across so many stitches, kind of blocking out where all the other blocks are going to go. Sorry, my cat was trying to claw at my new couch, and I don't appreciate that. Okay. Yes, found out where the middle was because they started with the middle block, and I'm not a middle starter, but I also like to save as much fabric on the ends as I can, like for other projects if I need to cut it off later. So I definitely did my border on the top corner, counted down, counted across. You won't be able to see, but these are the bottom cubes. Counted those up, counted them across, made sure everything was kind of matching. I have the cube that's on the side, the cube that's on this side, and then here's the middle piece so that they are all counted. There is room on all of them, and I have the fabric held the right way. I'm sorry, my cat is walking around and I have a lot of needles next to me. for reading time, which we will get to. But she scares me when she goes over onto that table. It is not for her to walk on, but she likes to. Okay, sorry. But yeah. So on the Snow Village, there are... Oh, yes. And I started using some of my new needle minders because they're so cute. I also didn't bring what Snow Village is supposed to look like. Okay. And I don't have the picture saved on my phone right now to like insert a photo. That's okay. But these are banners, right? Like here's the things that the sign is hanging off of, and there are banners that come down and hang all the letters together. But a lot of those are longer back stitches sometimes. And also all the snowmen are missing their faces and their buttons. Because I'm doing this on a Q-snap, I'm going to do all the snowman eyes or any French knots or any long back stitching, more than like a square, when it's all complete. Because I am doing it all on one piece of fabric. I will go back to each pattern and add them in. Mostly because I just don't want them to get snagged or ripped or messed up. But here is my Snow Village. I think the last video, maybe I mentioned it or didn't. I think all of this was gone. There wasn't any snowflakes on the top. I know that their hats and everything else were not filled in. I don't think the trees were done. But these snowflakes, these snowflakes over here, I actually put in the piece one time and had to rip them all out because this big snowflake I actually accidentally put over the G. And I had done this snowflake, this snowflake, this snowflake. I think I'd started like maybe this way, and I was starting on like a banner. And either I got one banner in, and when I went to the next banner, it was going to run into a letter. And I was like, that doesn't work. I had to rip out all that stitching. Which also means I might become, depending on how much floss it was quite a bit of floss that I had to rip out, and I didn't reuse it because I had to cut it as I was going. So I might have to get some more floss for this stitch along. We'll see. But it was exciting. Sorry. Something's going on with my Google Sheets. That was Happy Little Stitch. This was Snow Village, Snow House. Which was a total of 2,842 stitches. Not including, obviously, the pieces I didn't do yet. That was a lot of stitching, even though it looks small. But this detailing down here is a lot of block coloring. And I think I probably had to rip out some of that at some point too. Going with the Happy Little Stitch Shop stitch alongs, I also did Glitter House number 2. Okay, make sure my needle stays on there. Can you see through? Let me see if I can. Hold, please. I like this stitch along. There is one part of this I do not like, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see all that white. There is a tree here and a tree here and a lot of snowflakes up here, and there's a fence down here and a fence down here, and there's snow on the bottom underneath these green trees. In some lighting you can see the white, like if I turn it to the side. This fabric is also very glittery, which you're catching some of that glitter. But straight on, a lot of that white disappears. And if I hold it back, a lot of that white blends right into this fabric. Same thing on this house. Like there's snow up here on the house. All of these, the top border is supposed to be the snow. And so I need some advice on like what could I do to make that white pop out more? Or is there anything? Could I mix a gray with it? And then in which case, what color is that? I'll buy it. I'll restitch, half stitch with one strand over a bunch of these to blend it. But it just doesn't pop out. And it just blends right in. Like you can see the blue, you can see the pinks, you can see the greens, the browns, the grays. But the fact that there's 2 white trees here, and those are no joke. Those are some big trees and some bigger snowflakes. And in a lot of the lighting, and it's not just the spotlight. Like here's my house lighting too. And it disappears. And a lot of that white's also down here in this bottom border. Like you can see a lot of other colors in here. There's also a couple of white ones, but there's a whole bottom border that's down here. So that is the one thing that I'm not thrilled about with the Glitter House series. And it's not anything to do with the patterns. And I love this fabric. I don't like how the white is showing up on this fabric. Any ideas to help me fix that? Let me know. Okay. Oh, totals. So also let me turn that back on. This one was Glitter House. 1,738 stitches, and there were no snowmen in this, so I don't have anything, because I know I did do the French knots on this snowman. There were no snowmen, so there's no French knots happening on this house. And I don't know if I'm going to do any more of the French knots on any further ones, because I don't want it to get ruined as it gets rolled. But I'm excited for month number 3. That was Glitter House, Snow House, February. Okay. Next is going to be Linen and Threads, the Mystery Sal for 2021. And I have finished all of January and February. So here's February. And all of this border is January. I'm not going to take it out this time. I think I did take it out last video. You can go back and see it. But I did do it all the way down to the edges. And here's February's block. They have released March's block, so for plans, obviously Snow Village and Glitter Village when I get the next patterns in. I've ordered, they sent me the order for them, I paid, and I'm just waiting for them to ship and get here. So it won't be the first week or anything, but I'll be working on those this month. We already know a Prairie Year. I want to get the Prairie Year block done. And for this one, I want to do March. It's easier to keep up with these kind of stitch alongs than it is the Prairie Years, because I am stitching these with other people. And it makes it more fun when they only come out every month and you just stitch what it is. But these 3 columns came out for March. So that'll be a lot of stitching. Which makes me think a Prairie Year might get kicked out again. They are long columns. I forget how long. But I did get the pattern into Pattern Keeper already. So I can start. I think I will be starting on this very soon. And so that was finishing January and finishing February. So my finishes, those were the 5. Those were my 5 finishes, or finish for nows, this month. I'm calling them all finishes individually because most of them are either individual patterns or I'm going to be finishing them separately later. So 5 finishes. I also have a year in black work written here, and I don't have that one with me. I left that one in the other room. Trying to think of how I want to go about this. Talk about it now or talk about it after reading time, because it goes into WIPGO. We'll talk about it after. This is going to be the favorite part. Alyssa from Stitching with the Cat at the Cabin is also starting Reading Time by Randall Spangler. It's a HAED pattern, and she's starting from another corner, and it is really awesome to see her progress kind of coming up from the bottom. And she's going to hit that fairy, and she's going to hit the other little creatures that are on the bottom there, and it's going to be so cool to see. So the second half of the month, I was able to pick this up because I know by my last video I had not picked this up yet. And I did. And before I even show you the progress that's on it, sneaking peeks, this got 4,567 stitches in it, which is a lot for me. But, okay, I'll tell you about the goals for this later. So here is the stitching time progress. I will be inserting a pic photo here of what it looked like the last time you saw it. Okay, so that was the picture of the last time you saw it, and or around the last time you saw it. I've been taking pictures every 1,000 stitches, and I know that the last time you saw it, I'm going to double check, but I want to say it's around 4,000 stitches, so that's the picture you'll see. And then I've done a lot of it's come out. A lot of times I am using a diagonal marker to see like where I can put another stitch. I am still missing some fill-in stitches, like around here. And there's a couple stitches still missing up here. There's a color I am missing. There's a couple stitches down here and right here. But I'm using Pattern Keeper so I can still see where they all are. But it looks so good. I'm going to go back to my whole total sheet so I can tell you that this is 8,578 stitches. I'm so excited about this one. It's going to take me a long time to finish it. I know that. So here is a picture from Pattern Keeper on the corner that this is in, like zoomed all the way out, because this is only my Pattern Keeper is on my phone. I think this is 2%. When I pause it this time to insert the photo, I will also go check that out to see what percent I'm at. I think I'm actually at 2% now, which is super exciting. .2%. That is super exciting. So when I say I'm pausing or stopping the video, for every time I want to insert a photo, I'm going to stop the video and then restart recording, because the editing software I found for free was easy to look at and was easy for me to figure out. Did not have a split. It had a trim for videos, but it didn't have a split where I could like put the photo inside the middle of a clip. So as long as I just stop it every time I have a video to insert, it'll be a bunch of different clips and I can just put the photos there. So yes, that was what it looks like on Pattern Keeper when you're all zoomed out. Because it really is just this top little itty bitty corner, and 2.2% done. But I'm super happy with it. Now I am a numbers person, so I've also been trying to figure out this month, like how long is this project realistically going to take me? And if I continue with, and so Alyssa, if you're like, you don't want to know these numbers because you're working on it too, stop listening. Go la la la, go take a bathroom break. It'll be really quick, I promise. But don't listen to it. If I'm doing 4,000 stitches a month, it'll take me 8 years to do. And that's actually over 4,000. It has to be like 4,069, 4,070 stitches a month. And it'll still take 8 years. So I'm hoping to do more than 4,000 a month. That is my goal. And hopefully I do so much more a month on some months, and I always do 4,000 in general, that it'll cut it down to less than 8 years. That's my goal. Okay, so my other happier news about this is page numbers. So pages, there are 63 pages in this pattern. But as you'll see when I zoom it all the way out, because I'll take that kind of a picture, you'll have seen that there are smaller pages on the sides and there's smaller pages on the last row of pages. If I ignore the fact that those are small pages and I just say there's 63 pages total, and because of the way I'm stitching kind of cross country and out, not really page breaking, and you average out the number of stitches, because there are 390,625 stitches in the entire project, divided by 63 pages, then that means only 6,200 stitches, point something. So we'll just say 6,200, and I'll have a few extra at the end. That's a page finish, which means I have more than a page done already. That is exciting. Any way I look at it, I have more than a page done because I have over the 8,000 stitches. And so even page 1 itself was only 7,840 stitches because it has no overlaps. So it's the most on a page. And so any way you look at it, I have at least one page finish, and it's only at the end of February, and that makes me super excited. But I will continue, and I don't know which direction I want to continue, because I do use these snaps, and you can see how high they go on my front because I have them doubled. Where can you see? I know that people hold their fabric in different ways, so I just want to show how mine is being held. So after it's all rolled up, and I have to keep it above this bar and not be a glob at the bottom because of how my stand is. Sometimes I stitch with it just in my lap, but sometimes I like to use my stand and it needs something to sit on, and even having it be this far out makes it a little difficult. Like, I'll pull up my stand in a minute and you'll be able to see what I mean. But definitely can't be bulky down here or bulky up here or bulky to a side. So instead I have it all rolled up and I have it behind here, which is why I'm using a bigger frame so that I can stitch. This actually just about reaches where the bottom is, and I can stitch up here, but anything below this is where all the extra fabric is. Okay, and then for the magnets, oh, no. Hold, please. We have had a magnet malfunction, and I don't want all of this to come undone, because this is one that is staying in the snap, in the Q snap for a long while, even when it's not being worked on. Come on, there we go. Okay, so I'm not going to pull that again, but I will show that these are starting down here. I'm going to have to tighten that one after this video. That's okay. But they're not long enough to go around the whole thing by themselves, so I connect them to a second set that come up. So this one down the bottom that looks like it's doing nothing is connecting to where I have it tucked underneath that fabric in the back. Okay, these two are connecting to that. And this one is connecting to where they come up on the top. And that's how I'm tensioning them up. I did have some smaller ones that I bought before, which are obviously too small, because again, these ones are too small to go around my big chunk of fabric in the back, no matter how tightly I try to roll or do something with. These are just too small to go around the whole thing with only one strand. And I probably could cut off some of the excess, which is partly why I'm thinking about going down. That's also the other corner, so I don't know where I want to go. I kind of want to keep coming out, but there is a lot of excess on the bottom, and I probably don't need that much. But that's how I have it for now, and that's how it's working for me with these snaps. And I also have my snag nabbit up there. Looks. But I am so excited that we have at least one page finish. And some of these are now unsnapping, so I'm going to go carefully put this down, and we can talk about plans. Okay. So let me get to my Whip It Go board. I also feel like if I turn my brightness down, I might be able to show you it. A little bit. Okay, so for this month, February, I had 5 days of reading time. I definitely did 5 days of reading time. I don't remember the total number of days. I can go back. Pause, please. Reading time for me got 12 days this month. So that's pretty good. I don't know which days were weekend days and which days were just nights after work and after the kids went to bed, but 12 days. Some of them weren't very big days because some of them might have been, if it was like a Friday, I stitched maybe 100, 150 stitches on it between getting out of work and getting the kids to bed. And then Friday nights I've been doing the diamond painting, so it wouldn't have gotten a lot, but I still count it as a day. But I got 12, so that goal for me was complete and it's green. A year of black work did not get completed. My actual goal for this was 5 motifs. And what I completed in February, I believe, was the third border piece that I'm working on. So I'm actually stitching the borders first that I want to do before I start stitching the squares or rectangles. And I'm doing kind of a multi-fabric piece with it. So I only stitched that third big corner piece. I didn't stitch any motifs on it. And I even said on here like that could have been for 5 motifs of 2020 because I'm still catching up on 2020 and finishing that one off. That one's also on black Ada. And now I have this light, so now I probably could do it at night out here. But prior to that, I have to do it during the day with really good lighting, like sunlight coming in, lamps on still, and everything else because it's just hard to see even if I have something white underneath. And I just don't have that kind of daylight anymore in the winter in Connecticut. Like, no, not great. Now that I have this light, I might be able to turn this up and be able to see it. So maybe that'll come out in February. I'm not sure. I definitely want to get more work done on the 2021 one so I can start catching up with everybody. And again, when you're stitching with a lot of other people and keeping up, it does seem a lot more fun. So maybe in March, we'll see. But then the numbers did get called for March already. And so March, it was 10 and 24. Yeah, 10 and 24. And that for me is Glitter Village 1 month. So once that pattern comes in, I can work on it. And my bookshelf. So bookshelf will be coming back out and I will be working on that. That is a pattern I have from Lola Lotta shop or just Lola Lotta on Etsy. Beautiful pattern, lots of books, fairies, fun things, and it's going up on my hooks. So it's a giant piece of fabric and it's just one little corner that I'm working on right now with that pattern. But bookshelf will come out, so that will be my goals for WIPGO for March. I think we're almost done. So the next thing that is going to happen in March, now I'm going to my 2021 calendar because now we have a lot of goals, right? March. Okay. So March does have 31 days. It has 4 Fridays, and so those Fridays, mostly I'm not going to be getting a lot of stitching in because I will be diamond painting with my sister at night. I'll have stitching whatever I do at work, but that's about it. And I have toyed with the idea, I'm not supposed to say diamond painting. So the first week of March, I'm not going to be stitching a lot, cross stitching. I will be crocheting, which a lot of them call it stitching too. So I will be stitching with my crochet hook on a crochet blanket, the big king size Gagnon blanket that I have put in a previous video. I am going to take that back out because I wanted to take it out once we got these couches. They came near the beginning of February. I never took it out. So Monday through Thursday, starting tomorrow, that Gagnon blanket's going to come out and I'm going to watch some Netflix series with my husband and stitch on that at night after the kids go to bed. That means I still have stitching time during my work hours, from my breaks, lunch, etc. And from when I get out of work until the kids go to bed, which that time is not guaranteed, because sometimes I'll be working with them on extra schoolwork they have to do, or another project, or we have other household chores that need to get done during the week, dishes, laundry, etc. They want hugs and cuddle time. They want me to read something to them. You know, lots of other things. But if I get a chance to, I will have some stitching time then. And we'll see what gets done. So I do plan on maybe making one video in the middle of the month again, and maybe that'll be the diamond painting one. I have one more shipment I'm waiting on, and if that comes in, I'll make it. Otherwise, maybe I'll wait on that. Maybe I'll do one on the crochet blanket. I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'll just do another stitching update, and I'll do one at the end of the month and one in the middle of the month. We shall see. But those are my plans. If you've stayed this long, thank you so much. Subscribe if you want to see more, or be notified when I post another video. Like it if you've seen anything you've enjoyed. And I will talk to you all at the end of March for the March review. And hopefully some of these plans are complete. All right, thanks. Bye, guys.